Our next guest was visiting her family in Freeport on Grand Bahama Island as Hurricane Dorian approached. She chose not to leave them behind, but rather to stay and ride it out with them. Crystal DeGregory joins us now to discuss what happened when the hurricane hit. Crystal, we're so happy to see you and that things have worked out actually in the best case scenario for you at the moment. But just explain, you're from Nashville, Tennessee. You were in the Bahamas for your godson's christening. And you knew that Hurricane Dorian was approaching, and so why did you decide to stay?
Yes, I'm a resident of the Bahamas, residing currently in Nashville as I have for most of the last 2 decades, which meant that I missed all of the hurricanes that have ravaged this region in the last 20 years. I happened to be here on vacation as the hurricane approached and decided to stay because there were so many people who, in fact, could not. I had left my mother alone many occasions to ride out the storm with other family and friends, and this time was my opportunity to do so, and so I did.
And so tell us what happened. What did it look like? What did it sound like as the hurricane hit?
Yeah, I mean, our house was substantially damaged in Hurricane Matthew, and so we had the good fortune of new and really dependable construction to ride out this storm. But again, very harrowing tale of winds and rain beating upon the external structures, the sound as though a jet were landing in your living room. And you can't see outside because your windows are boarded up in order to keep you safe. And so you're blind, literally. And all of this primarily is happening at night, or at least the worst of it was.
And that makes it doubly, I guess, haunting and harrowing, as you say. The idea that it's just black and it's nighttime. And I mean, was the feeling that nobody would be able to save you if things turned?
Yes, and that indeed was true in the instance of many people. The thing that really saved those that could be saved, and many of whom were saved primarily due to the courageousness of the men and women of the Royal Bahamas Police and Defense Forces, but also due to the savvy and the courage of millennials who took to social media, who called out of the country, back into the country, on the Alive system, which was the only system largely working at that time to say people need help. I guess the only good fortune that most people had was that the storm surge came during daylight. If it had come at night, all would have been lost.
And I know that part of the terror that you experienced was that some of your relatives were not with you and some of your relatives were in harm's way. So tell us about those phone calls that you would get.
Yeah, it's terrible because you can't do anything. And, what you can do is really limited to depending on the generosity of friends and family out of the country to call back into the country, and to those on social media who, again, are the real unsung heroes of this whole affair. But you get the call, the water's rising, I'm now on the kitchen counter, what do I do next? I'm going to go into the attic, and you're saying to them, remember to take the hammer. If the worst happens, you got to put a hole in the roof and you got to get on top there. In the instance of my sister with several family members huddled in the home, as well as neighbors who had come to seek shelter there are 15 of them. I mean, really, where are they going to go? And at a certain point, what do you do? Because I'm thinking I'm going to jump in my car and drive over there. And then, common sense says it'll be just like life for me to get in my car and get over there trying to save you and die. And then you all live. And that would make for good storytelling.
Indeed. And so are all of your relatives okay this morning?
They're alive. I don't know how well they are. One of the photos that I submitted was of the home of my cousin, who actually happened to be away, dropping her daughter away to college in Canada. And there is nothing there. I mean, the television and a chair of some other person's home is in her ceiling. And had she rode out the storm, which is in fact what she had intended to do, she probably wouldn't be alive at this moment. There were neighbors who passed and they stared, and we said hi, and they said, did they make it out? And we said, they weren't here, fortunately. And we asked them, how were they doing? And they said about the same, but we're grateful for life. We said, did you get out in time or were you rescued? And with tears in their eyes, they said that they went into the attic, 5 of them and 2 dogs, and took turns, the 3 adults, hitting a hole into a new roof, which is really, really difficult, with 1 hammer. And that they sat on that roof from Sunday to Tuesday at 6 p.m. in the hurricane.
And Crystal, and as you point out, people are alive, but they're not okay. Obviously the trauma of living through something so harrowing will last a long time. Crystal DeGregory, thanks for sharing all of your photos there and sharing your own personal story. We're happy that everybody made it out alive.
Not everyone, but those that did, we're grateful to it.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Crystal.
And I think we're going to hear many more stories over the next several days about people in the Bahamas who got out or are concerned about their loved ones or are missing loved ones there.
There are still so many missing people.
So many.